Hey there, it's Craig, and this is the video for March. In 2026, I'm making 12 videos, one a month, sharing my progress as I build up my art practice here in Japan. In March, I'll be preparing for the pop-up show in the first week of April, and I'm going to share some of the merchandise I've created for that show, as well as some of the planning that goes into making that pop-up happen. I'll also be sharing some of the business proposal that I've created. I'm looking to finalize that business proposal this month and then taking it to some key people in Tokyo. I'm hoping to get their insights and advice as I work towards making that business a reality. And finally, there'll be a mini break in Hakone, maybe 3 days, I think, 4-day break in Hakone towards the end of the month before I start the pop-up show. So thanks for joining me, and I'll be sharing some process videos as I go and catching up with you again at the end of the month to review what's happened. So I'll talk to you then. I spent a bit of time in Koenji in March, and while it's a little run down, it's got a whole lot of character, and it's where a lot of Tokyo's creative community are based. Lots of interesting businesses. This one in particular I wanted to check out is Cloud's Gallery and Coffee, and it's a gallery and cafe space, and it was great to experience that. I think Koenji would be a fantastic location for an artist's or a creative residency for artists in Tokyo. This is the website for the space that I'll be holding the pop-up in. It's called Tefu Lounge. There's a couple of Tefus in Tokyo. This particular one in Shimakazawa is beautifully designed and fit out space, lots of warm tones, and just a fantastic cafe, indie cinema, lounge and working space. And if I scroll down here, we can see the studio space. So this is the pop-up space that I'll be using. It's right in near the entrance on the right-hand side, and I'll have these two walls to work with. The first thing I'll do in a situation like this is ask for the dimensions, and I'll take those dimensions into Illustrator, and usually it will be a 1 to 10 scale. So this wall, for instance, is 250 millimeters high, which will be 2.5 meters in reality. And doing it to scale allows me to say, okay, the average person will be about 170 centimeters, and I can make this graphic 170 millimeters, and I'll have a good idea of what the viewing height will be and things like that. I've done a couple of configurations, and these configurations then go to the person in charge of the space, and there's a bit of back and forth as we work out how this is going to work. And their initial request was to try to ensure that the frames didn't interact with anybody sitting against the wall, and that wasn't ideal because it really limits the amount of artworks I can show on the wall. And I do have 50 artworks in this collection, and I won't be able to show all of them, unfortunately, in this size space. So I pushed for this, and for the seating to be in the middle of the room, and they agreed to that, which is great. So I'll be able to show 36 of the artworks. The artworks will be hung in this space from a picture rail on wires, and it's not ideal. I don't like using the wire hanging system because the pictures don't really sit as flush to the wall as you'd like. And what I'll need to do is get some rubber pads for the bottom corners of the frames, so that they tend to, they will hopefully sit a little bit more flush to the wall. So I felt this was a little bit plain, and I've had this giant poster printed, and I will put that up, mount that to the back wall as well. And I've done a poster, A1 poster for the inside window, the window of the space. So that should look fantastic. So it's really important to have this plan. It allows me to visualize what it's going to look like, allows me to select the artworks before I go in there. I can't display all 50, I needed to select 36, and I want a nice balance, so not all the red ones are together, they're spread out evenly. I can work that all out before I go and do the install on the day, and it makes everything go a lot smoother. And here's the book for Tiny Fables. It's beautiful, 36 pages, printed on a fairly rough stock, feels great in the hands, it's got fantastic texture to it. And it's the first 100 copies are in Japanese. It's a mix of Kansai and Kanto dialects, or Osaka Ben and Tokyo Ben, if you like. And it's really good. I wanted to balance out the very kind of matte textured finish, and I did that by placing the books into plastic sleeves with a glossy sticker on the front, and it works really well. So looking forward to releasing those. And the stickers, I had to assemble 100 of these. I printed the header cards and the sticker sheets separately, sourced the plastic sleeves, and assembled all of those ready for the show. I've been working on the proposal for this creative residency business for 2 months now, and I don't think I can go any further without coming up with some kind of brand or name for it. Even if it's just an interim branding treatment or name, I really need to, now that I've started showing people this proposal, I need to give it a little bit of personality and make it it'll make it that little bit more exciting for the person I'm giving the presentation to be able to see something real. This is the process that I would usually go through with a client. In this case, I'm asking all the questions of myself. And this is probably about three sessions where I'd sit down, I'd spend an hour and a half, 2 hours thinking things through, and then walking away, not coming to any decisions or making any decisions, coming into any conclusions, but thinking, okay, I'm still not really sure where I'm going with this. I'd come back, and then by the end of the third session, I thought, okay, I think I can move ahead. All of those thoughts really come down to, if this creative residency isn't going to be a neutral, minimalist space, then it needs to stand for something. It needs to say something. It needs to be styled in some way. And I wasn't really interested in doing a kind of a minimalist approach. So I looked at 4 different angles. The first one was framework. And I think I would like to, in some way, communicate the kind of things I've been talking about at presentations, giving talks at events in Tokyo recently. I've been talking about my productivity and the way that I've been able to sustain a high level of passion over a long period of time. And the reason, I almost accidentally stumbled across it, which was that, for the first 20 years of my career, I would just work on a side project or an idea when it happened to come along or pop into my head. And because of that, my passion would come and go. However, for the last 6 years, in 2021, I said, okay, I'm going to set a big long-term goal. I'm going to create 1,000 artworks in 10 years. So I had that long-term goal. I had to break that down into smaller projects, which ended up being 2 collections of 50 artworks each year. And having that framework in place and a theme that tied all of those projects together, which for me was monsters, meant that I still had plenty of flexibility for what the works would be, but I didn't get lost along the way. I had a framework in place that wasn't too overwhelming and big, because I'd broken it down into smaller pieces, and it just worked amazingly well to sustain a high level of passion, motivation, and productivity. It's been 6 years so far. I've created over 500 artworks. I've done so many different events and things along the way, had some great experiences, and I want to be able to kind of help other people by using that system and teaching that system in some way. How I teach it, I'm not really sure at this point. That will come later, but perhaps, and for this first angle, perhaps it should be about a framework in some way, and I ended up with words like make and craft, functional words, fairly functional, but all about teaching that framework. So then the second angle was imagination. Okay, let's do something, the absolute opposite of minimalist no-style space, and doing something exuding imagination, playfulness, adventurousness, and came up with Yokaya, which is in Japanese is monster shop, so that kind of ties in with my 10-year project. Words like futo, I love the word futo. It's an adjective used to describe an idea, a spontaneous idea springing to life. Probably the best visual way to describe it is a cartoon of someone with a thought bubble popping out the side of their head. That you would say, futo idea ga waite kita. It's an idea sprung from my imagination. And waka waka, which is a kind of a fun, playful word in Japanese. The third angle was Japanophile, so obviously the attraction for a lot of traveling artists coming to Japan is all of the culture and the Japanese crafts that they can incorporate into their own artistic journey. So I looked at words like shakuhachi, which is the Japanese flute, bamboo flute from the Edo period, maroromi, which is the state where you're half asleep and half awake, which is often where we get our good ideas from. And then the fourth angle was refuge. So one of the reasons we do creative residencies, one of the reasons we travel is to escape from our regular routine, and looking at different words associated with refuge. Koya in Japanese is a mountain hut. It's where you'll stay overnight if you're doing a multi-day trek through the mountains, hideaway, habitat, words like that. So the word I decided to go with for now was crafto. Craft works in both English and Japanese, and it's in Japanese craft. It's pronounced crafto in Japanese, and it's a borrowed English word. But in both languages, it has all of those connotations of being handmade and human, authentic and artisanal. That was the great associations to have. And incidentally, craft in German has very different meanings, but also not terrible things to associate the brand with, which is strength, force, power, vitality. So running with craft, I looked at a couple of meanings within the word of craft in Japanese. Kurafto. Kura is, just coincidentally, kura is the Japanese word for storehouse. Can also be thought of as a place to store your treasure. And futo, again, that spontaneous imagination, ideas springing to life. So some wonderful double meanings in the Japanese use of that word. Next, I started looking at how might those words work together in English and Japanese. Can we shorten things? How does the balance work between the longer English word and the shorter Japanese version? Things like that. And then font styles. So, going through 100 or so font styles. Knowing roughly, it could look like this or that. It could be a typeface that looks like it's been constructed or crafted, built, or it could be something playful and hands-on, brush script, hand-lettered, things like that. I ended up going with the playful one, and this is probably a little bit too playful, maybe a little bit juvenile, and I think if I do go ahead with this, I would contract a hand letterer in Japan to actually give me some options for a hand-drawn version of kurafto. The next thing I did, I looked at some treatments. In Japan, we use hanko stamps rather than using a pen to sign official documents. And the hanko stamps generally have a border around the outside. It's a nice way of enclosing the logo. And I looked at some treatments there. I ended up running with this, which is getting back to that futo, the thought bubble popping up. So next, color scheme, playing with colors. It had to be risograph colors. I'm really taken by risograph color schemes at the moment. But also the risograph community is so strong around the world. I would love to attract risograph artists to the creative residency, and I do plan for a risograph machine to be the engine of this the studio space. So here, pairing it with something that really quickly describes what the business is and giving it a bit of a texture to it, the risograph paper texture or ink texture. Looking at some mock-ups. So this is really the most exciting part of the branding process, apart from actually implementing it, is to actually create some mock-ups of what it might look like. Up until this point, we've spent a lot of time banging our heads against the wall, thinking of different ways of treating the brand, and lots of anxiety of having to make big decisions and go with a certain direction. And after looking at some monotone treatments, now we're finally at the part or at the stage where we can play with how it might look in the real world. From here, now I have something I can add to the proposals and bring it to life a little bit more, make it feel a little bit more real, and build some excitement about what this brand and what this creative residency business might actually stand for and look like. So it's the 27th of March, Friday the 27th of March. It's coming up to the end of the month. This month has all been about preparing for the pop-up show, which starts next Wednesday, the 1st of April. Just the amount of things to do when preparing for seemingly a little pop-up is incredible. I've been running around Tokyo delivering postcards to different galleries and stores that are happy to promote the show for me, which is amazing, and created these stickers, so the merchandise and the book, of course. So the 36-page book, it looks amazing, and it just gives so much depth to the project by telling stories of what happens in this world. And so they're all ready to go. Sourcing a display solution for the books and for the stickers. All the hooks, finding and purchasing all the hooks and wires for the picture rails. and so many other things. Boosting Instagram reels. There's a couple of different reels that I've given a voiceover in Japanese introducing the work and the show. So that's being boosted to thousands of people in Tokyo interested in art at the moment. And I think I'm in a pretty good place. There's still a few things to do. I need to set up in Square app on my phone all of the products so that people can make touch payments and get the coins and cash. So I'm ready for people that want to pay with cash and things like that. So still a bit to do, but I'm tracking well. The other thing I did this month was work more on the plan for the creative residency business, and it's called the Kinyu Koko, so the Japan Finance Corporation. I've been working on a Sogo Yushi, which is or a Sogo Yushi Teian, which is a proposal for a startup loan with the Japan Finance Corporation. And a lot of work's gone into that. I went to Kuramae, to Maya Cafe, one of 3 cafes that Vaughan Allison runs, and I got to meet Vaughan. I spent a bit of time talking to him about what it's like running a business like that, and just fascinating, learned so much talking with him. I also went risograph studio hunting. I want to learn how to operate a risograph machine. Last year, when I did my risograph collection, I spent a lot of time at the risograph studio, but all of the technical work, all of the manual labor was done by the staff there, and I really want to learn how to do that myself. So I went to Takara no Baba a week ago and visited an amazing studio called Surutoco. And they do a lot of screen printing workshops with their kind of signature proprietary screen printing system, and they've designed their business so well. All the workshops, all the options, everything about it is just designed so well. So it was really interesting to see that. They gave me a bit of a tour around the shop floor and the workshop floor, and the only problem is they don't offer risograph training. However, and just purely by coincidence, on that day there was a risograph event happening on the other side of Tokyo. So I hopped on a train and went over there. There's a space there, really bright space there with a cafe on the first floor and a mezzanine with a risograph studio on that mezzanine level called No Gutter. And lovely guys, lovely people there. They're going to train me. They do offer that service. If you want to know how to use a risograph machine, you can learn that there. So we'll be going back to do that. On that day, I got to meet a whole bunch of people. They'd cleared the cafe floor and set it up with booths. There was probably about 15 booths from each run by independent risograph artists. And I got to exchange details with a lot of those people and meet those people, which was great. So I will be going back there. What else did I do in March? I spent a few days on the border of Hakone and Kanagawa, and at a place called Manazuru, which is a sleepy coastal town, and had a great little few days break there. Much needed break. I worked on the Kurafuto, or the Creative Residency branding, which the current working name for the Creative Residency is Crafto. So craft in English, Crafto in Japanese. And another interesting thing that happened was I came across, while I was doing research on creative residencies in the Kanto area here in Japan, I came across a residency called Seiko Neon in Yamanashi Ken, so very close to Fujisan, Mount Fuji. And I was really taken with this space. I think I might try and do a residency there later this year. So I'll put an application in for that. And one of the first artists there was Nagaba Yu-san. Nagaba Yu-san is a famous Japanese illustrator, contemporary illustrator. All his work is monotone, black or white, and very distinctive. And it was interesting to read on his bio. He said that from 2014 he focused on releasing artworks composed entirely of black and white lines which became his signature style. And that got me thinking. It's something I've thought about on and off over the last couple of years, is that my project has a theme, or my art practice has a theme at the moment, this 10-year project, but I don't have a signature style yet. And you see artists benefit so much from having a signature style, from being able to see an artwork and say, oh, that's that person's artwork. That's really what you want to achieve, I think. And I went on to, just in line with that thinking, I just happened to finish Florian Gadsby's book, By My Hands. Florian Gadsby is an incredibly successful potter, ceramicist in England, and he's still in the beginning of his career. This book really sums up his first 10 years as an apprentice potter, and it made me think that this 10 years, where, you know, starting in 2021, running until 2030, where I'm intentionally building my art practice, this is really my apprenticeship in a way, and I don't need to worry yet about having a signature style. And in fact, Florian Gadsby, at the end of this book, he suggests to people starting out, first, test out as many different methods and techniques as you can before settling on one. If you haven't tried as many options as you possibly can, you may never settle and find the one you truly love. So it's interesting, because it made me go from thinking, what am I going to do in 2030 when this project ends, to actually 2030 is the end of the beginning. It'll be the end of my apprenticeship, where I've experimented with all these different mediums and styles, and I aspire to getting to 2030 and saying, okay, I've tried all these different things, this is what I want to do, I'm going to double down on this. And so that the next 10 years from 2030 I can spend honing that style. And it's a great shift in perspective for me to go from 2030 is the end to 2030 is just the beginning, really, or the end of this apprenticeship period for me. And that's really exciting. So it's a great positive way to keep moving and not lose momentum as I get past that milestone. So that wraps up the March video. April obviously is going to begin with the pop-up show. It's going to have a Pecha Kucha talk I'll be giving in the middle of April, and also I have to start the punch needle embroidery tests in April as well. I just didn't have time to get to that in March. That's okay. There's still time. I will get stuck into that in April, and I'll talk to you again then.